We will be making a mood board for our assigned companies. So after you get your logo design packet, you are going to draw three different clients from the bucket, and then you will pick one to work with. So you only need to pick one, no redraws or swapping. And we are creating a mood board for our assigned client based on their requests. So these are all different examples of mood boards for different designs. You can kind of see how they're all aesthetically a little bit different. The colors, the type, the imagery that is based on what the client wants. So that's essentially a mood board. Think of it as like a collage, a collection of images, type, colors, shapes that relate to a particular design or theme, and it's often arranged in collage format. The reason why we're doing this is because it helps us plan out and brainstorm some ideas for the final logo design. We're going to be making lots and lots of sketches and getting some ideas down before we ever get into Photoshop or Illustrator to design our logo. So, absolutely do not start designing your logo yet. We are just working on a mood board. So, my mood board is, or my client, I should say, is Ox and Oak Campground. And they want something that is woodsy, nature themed, but also modern. They like the color olive green and they would like some neutrals in there, such as browns, beiges, grays, those kinds of colors. They're open to any typeface, but they want something unique. And they want something that fits inside of an oval or a circle. And then in terms of imagery, they said something nature-based, forest, something to do with camping, or even an ox, since Ox and Oak is the name of the campground. So to get started, you'll see the requirements here. It says we complete the sections of our logo design packet. I've already done that. I'm going to set up a blank canvas in Photoshop sized at 11 inches by 8.5 inches. I'm going to go into Photoshop. I'm going to go to New File, and we want it to be 11 inches wide. Make sure this is set to inches, not pixels. Height is 8.5. Resolution 72 is fine. I'm going to bump it up to 150 though, because I just want it a little bit higher quality. And then I will click create. So this is my blank canvas, my background. From here, I could fill this with a background color. So maybe I want to work on finding, like an olive green or something. I can always do this later to maybe fill in that background color with an olive green, something like that. We'll just leave it like that for now. Okay, I'm going to start with kind of that woodsy nature theme. Now you're allowed to find Google Images for this. So I'm just going to type in woods. Let's see. Perfect. And just kind of finding some images that I think would represent the campground. I kind of like this trail here. And the cool part about this is you don't even have to save. You could just go to copy and then go to Photoshop, and I'll do Control V, or you can do edit paste. Now, obviously this is too big, so I'm going to do Control T, and we're just going to resize that. I can always make it bigger or smaller later on. I'll just kind of put it off to the side. Now you need at least 10 images, maybe even more than that for this. So, think along the lines of the words they give you, the keywords. So they said woods, nature, camping. I'm going to find all of these things. I'm just typing in nature now. Let's see if there's anything else. Oh, I kind of like that with the creek in there. So right click, copy image, go to Photoshop, Control V, and I can then again resize. I can rotate even if I want to, just kind of moving them around. And then every time I copy and paste them, they're going to be their own layer, which is going to make it really easy for arranging this collage. I'm going to type in camping now. Just going to find kind of a campsite image. It doesn't give me a location, but maybe something like this. Actually, no, I like this because I like the view from the camp or the tent. Okay. So kind of collecting your images that you think you might want. Now I know I'm going to look for wood texture because they really said they liked the idea of browns and, the woods and the forest. So I think some kind of like wood texture might be a good thing to put in there. So we'll maybe I kind of like that with like the cracks in there too and the gnarled wood. It's a really big one, so we're going to really shrink that down. High quality image. There we go. Now, let's say, you have an image on here and you're like, oh, I kind of want just part of that though. You can grab your rectangular marquee tool or any of those selection tools. Let's say I just want like this part, I want it to be square. So I'm kind of just cutting that part. I could say Control C and Control V. Now it's on its own layer and I could delete or hide that old layer. So that's one way you can kind of resize too if you want things to fit together in a certain way. I just kind of liked how this one's a square and then it kind of emulates that. Now they also said ox, and I was like looking up ideas for ox. I'm like, well, there's like an ox yoke. Like that's kind of a cool thing. The ox would wear that as they're plowing the field. So maybe something with an ox yoke. It might sound kind of silly, but um, maybe that kind of design we could incorporate into a logo. So I am going to put that in there. I don't know if I'll actually use it or not, but I like that it's made of wood too. I think that helps. So we'll kind of shrink that down there. All right, we're already at 5 images. We need to get at least 5 more. And I'm actually going to go ahead and look for typefaces. So I'm going to look for, they said open to typeface, but something unique. And they don't want the logo to feel too old. So I don't think I'm going to look for like a vintage typeface. I want it to still be modern. I might even look on dafont.com here and see if I can't find something that would work for Ox and Oak Campground. Like something like this, I think is too playful. It doesn't really make sense for a campground. I mean, campgrounds are fun, but we don't want it to be too childish either, since they want it modern. So let's see. I'm kind of thinking maybe starting with more of a basic typeface and go from there. And I'm going to type in Ox and Oak Campground and just see what looks good here. Any of them stand out to me because they wanted it to also be somewhat unique. So something kind of like that, where I kind of like the play on that X. I think that's kind of fun. And I'm going to show you the snipping tool next. So this will be kind of fun. So I'm going to type in snipping in my search bar here. If you haven't done this before, it's pretty fun. I'm just going to highlight the ox and the oak part here. And then I can just save this. So I'll just call it ox1. Now I can go into Photoshop and just do file, place embedded, and put that in there. Now, since I use that typeface, maybe I want to remember what that typeface is. So it's Refile is the name of it. I might even just go in and just quick type that in, Refile. I could have also just used the snipping tool to grab that. And then I'll just turn it as like a normal typeface here, readable typeface. So I'll just kind of like leave like a little note for myself there, Refile. Okay. Let's keep looking. This seems nice and modern to me. I do like the curly Q on that ox and oak part. Just going to scroll through a few more here. Take your time on this, really building up some ideas, because you're going to be taking these things and essentially putting it all together into your own logo. So all of this is going to help you. I really like that. So I'm going to do the snipping tool again. So I can go back to that, do new. This time I'm actually going to grab the name of it. We'll just do that part. There we go. Whoops. I call that Ox2. So grab a couple different typefaces or ideas. That's going to help you later on. File, place embedded. There we go. It's okay that there's red in there. It's not a huge issue. If you really wanted to change it, if you want it to match your aesthetics of your mood board, you could go into hue saturation and maybe I'll change it to like a green. There we go. With less saturation. Beautiful. Yeah, I kind of like that one. Let me see if I can find one more. Because again, you really have to think about the business too and where this is going to go. They said they kind of want it to fit inside of a circle or an oval. So I'm thinking it definitely has to be readable, obviously, just to kind of remind myself. And then I'll make an oval shape. And I'm going to fill this in with more of a neutral tone, a brown. Maybe something like that. that works. Let's see here. I'll play around with it. I could always make it bigger, overlap it. All right, some other things. Let's see, what else did they want? Oh, more imagery. So nature, forest, ox, woodsy, but also modern. Um, I hesitate to put an actual ox in there, but let's just see what works for that. I think having it in there isn't a bad thing necessarily, just as a reminder of like what an ox looks like. Let's try, I think of Babe the Blue Ox. Mm, one with some big horns, I think, would be a good choice. Let's see, is this one going to work? I'll just right click copy. Let's see. Sure, there we go. Now, when we're working in Photoshop, just remember it's all about the order of your layers. So if you want it to be like below your other layers, like if I want this to be overlapped like that, just pay attention to the order of your layers. I think I need some more camping images because I want to convey that this is a campground, maybe like a campfire. So just like taking those keywords and like brainstorming other words related to it. Like this makes me think of campground for sure. So let's use that one. I'm just going to collect as many images as I can find here that make sense for my client without being too crazy. Let's do a campfire. A good image here, like that one. I also think of like national parks and things too. So I might even grab, see if I can find like a national park logo or something or some kind, not that it's a national park, but um, maybe not national park. Maybe I'll think of like a state park. There we go. I'm going to say Minnesota. Let's see they got here. I kind of think of that brown and yellow text. Minnesota DNR. Let's just go ahead and I'm gonna copy this one because again, it's not a national park, but it's kind of related. All right. I feel like I'm almost there. I just got to figure out how I'm going to arrange all of this now. So now it's all just kind of a matter of placing it in a way that makes sense um, with your overlapping and everything. So this is where you can kind of have some fun with it. Let's maybe move that down. I'm going to have all of them overlapping somewhat, I think. And then again, you can just like click and drag. I'm going to bring that down, this above, this like that. I'm going to make that just a little smaller. Let's go above with that one. Above the ellipse. There we go. This ox is kind of hiding, so let's bring it up a little bit. There we go, just so it's not covered up too much. I'm going to make this fire a little bit bigger. Let's maybe put that. I don't think I want this necessarily as big too. Resize again. Okay. And this refile, these are actually two that should really be combined together. So I'm going to rasterize that and we'll just do, let's see. So Aux1, see if it'll let me merge it down. I might have to rasterize this one too. There we go. Refile, merge down. Now that's all in one. Let's maybe do that at the top. I still want to be able to see the Voyagers part here, so I might move that over. Now I kind of feel like I still have like some empty spaces here, so I'm going to fill those in. I'm kind of thinking like trees or leaves, something else nature-based. And a cool part with, if I look on Pixabay, so I can find images with transparency. I'm going to type in leaves. So I think that might look kind of nice to find more like almost like a clip art image. So I just look up illustrations and then leaves. And then for color, I can actually choose transparent background then. So then I know that I can find something that has transparency. Lots of different options here for leaves. Even just something like that, a simple kind of watercolor maple leaf. I'll download that. We'll do file, place embedded, a little smaller. And actually, I don't know why I didn't think of this, but oak tree, you probably want like an oak leaf, dur. So let me see if I can find an oak leaf. That's why we do this. Do it now so you're not like, oh, why didn't I think of that before when you're designing your logo? Yeah, there we go. Some different oak leaves. I like the acorns in there too. Acorns might be kind of fun to be part of the design. Oops. File, place embedded. So take your time, like this, I know I'm moving a little bit fast, but might even rotate that a little bit. There we go. Like the oak leaves, maybe put something there. I'm kind of thinking like a tree or something. Or just something to do with camping. Once again, I'm going to look for a transparent background here because I like that idea. Like maybe I'm kind of thinking like a silhouette of a tree might be kind of cool. Maybe I should do oak tree. See what happens. Ooh, there we go. Ooh, I like this gnarled one here. It's kind of cool. Let's see. I don't think all of these are actually oak trees too. You know what? I'm going to go with this one. Even though it's got kind of an old school look to it, I think that might be kind of fun. File, place embedded. We'll put it right there, kind of overlapping. All right. So let's see. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 images. I'm definitely meeting the requirements for this assignment. It says if you have empty spaces, fill them up. Overlapping is encouraged. Be sure to include elements of the target audience and product service. So, my target audience are people who are going camping. So, I included the tents. I included the campfire. The whole experience of going camping is getting outside. So obviously, lots of outdoors and images of the outdoors, like hiking and things like that. They even have a national park represented here. So I think that all of those have been represented well. And then the last step is to save and export it as a JPG and upload it to the assignment. So now I'm going to go to File and then Export, Export As. And for format, I'll choose JPEG. And then I can simply click export. I'm going to call this my mood board. Whoops. And click save. And then you're going to upload that and you're ready to start getting more into the brainstorming and designing of your logo design.